Joining us now with more reaction, Ambassador Jim Woolsey, who's the former director of the CIA and chairman of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Welcome. It's good to have you here today.
Good to be with you.
This new report confirms what many have long suspected, that reports at U.S. Central Command, which oversees military efforts in the Middle East, were deliberately doctored to present a much more positive picture of the U.S. offensive against ISIS. All of this fits with the president's initial overview that ISIS was merely a JV team and that it had been contained. In your view, who would order that directive, which actually had 40% of our intel analysts distorting or suppressing ISIS intelligence analysis?
Well, they may not need to give an explicit order. I said recently when Henry II killed the archbishop in the cathedral back 9 centuries ago, he never ordered anybody to do it. He just said, will not someone rid me of this turbulent priest? And the guys around him went out and stabbed the priest. As a head of a big, powerful organization, whether it's the military or Henry II's kingdom, you can get people to do what you want just by nodding, winking, inclining, and usually I think the military is stronger in resisting something like that than much of the rest of our government and society, but even they may knuckle under to it from time to time, and it's a real shame when and if it happens.
So is that a wink and a nod that could come as a directive? Could that be tied directly to the president, or is he insulated from those who put these assessments together?
This sort of thing tends to be done with intermediaries, with national security deputy advisors and so forth, talking to people they know and saying, you know, the way things are getting told and they really like it in the White House is X, Y, Z. I think what's happening, Oma, is that there was a time, I'd say as recently as maybe the 70s and 80s, in which people looked first at the facts and then tried to figure out what the implications of that were for having a strategy and policies, and then put together a narrative, a story to explain the policy that you had come up with. That's perfectly reasonable. But what seems to have happened is people got the idea that they start with the narrative. And so if anything conflicts with the narrative, Benghazi, the lack of capability on behalf of a terrorist group, if anything conflicts with the story that they want to tell, people in the administration will adjust the facts in order to fit the narrative.
Let me ask you this.
Do it backwards, essentially.
When you distort this analysis, doesn't that put lives on the ground at risk? And do you also think that we've compromised security channels overseas?
It's a terrible thing to do. It's a terrible thing to give into. Any of us who has been in intelligence over the years in the U.S. government has seen things like this either occur or just about occur. And the difference between people in a circumstance like that is whether you call it straight or whether you give in to the wink and the nod coming from the boss or the boss's buddy. And I think usually our military people are good at having tough backbones, but occasionally it may go the other way.
Well, it's a very troubling situation indeed. Ambassador Woolsey, thank you so much for joining us with your insights. Really appreciate it.
Good to be with you again, Emma.